Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I'd like to share with you my latest build, the map to Thrawn from the Ahsoka series on Disney+. So this prop consists of two major parts. It's the ball itself and the individual map tiles. The tiles are available from Wonderknight and Supergreen props. Full details, including how to purchase the tiles, will be included in the description, and my build log on the RPF has a ton more details and photos of the build progress. So the base of this prop is a Megaminx ball. So that's a puzzle that's similar to a Rubik's Cube with colored stickers on each section that you try to line up. If you can find them, they're available in black, gold, and clear versions. But the only one that was available when I purchased this was a silver finish when I got mine from AliExpress. So the ball prep was pretty straightforward. I removed the stickers, disassembled the ball, removed the silver coating with sandpaper. I think I used 300, 400, 600, 800, and then I finished it with a final 1000 grit wet sand and then reassembled the ball. Okay. Now, clearly the star of this project are the tiles, and these are absolutely fantastic. Following this intro, I go into further detail on the process of how I painted these tiles, so stay around for that if you're interested. But the quality and details in the tiles are excellent, and it's an accurate and faithful reproduction and replica of what you see in the show. And as always, you always have your reference photos here, and in this particular panel you see what is the unlocked map. And let me see if I could find, there we go. So if you look at those images, you could see that all of the lines, all of the details are quite accurate. And the nice thing about this kit and all of the tiles is that they conform to the curve of the ball perfectly. There's no gaps, no warping, nothing of that nature. So, it's pretty refreshing to be able to, purchase something and have it fit correctly the first time. The finish of the prop that you see on the show is actually very complicated. I just did my best through a couple different techniques to give this enough variation to at least make it resemble what this prop would look like on the show. So, hopefully I was able to accomplish that. But anyway, this is not the end to this project. As with all props, the map needs a proper display. So I'll be working on a suitable stand next. But there you have it for now. I hope you enjoyed this build, and if there's any questions, please leave me a comment either here or on the RPF. Thanks for following along, and take care and enjoy the rest of the video. All right, so all of the tiles are finished. They're ready to go, and they're ready to be glued onto the ball. But before I do that, I wanted to kind of share with you guys what I did and some of the steps I took while everything is separated, so that you can kind of see things a little bit better. But in essence, as part of the painting process here, what I did is, of course, you have your reference photos, and this really I kind of used very loosely. I wasn't intending to mimic every last bit because it is actually quite complicated in terms of where you see, and I mean, for me and for my skills, it would be impossible for me to replicate all of this. But I just kind of used this as a general guide. And what I ended up doing, and so the first part you could see here, the tiles I got were the black resin ones. There's also a transparent option if you want to go that route. And you can see for each tile there's numbers that corresponds to the map that they provide you. And you can see there number 7. And for things that are maybe some confusions, they do the underscore to show you what direction it is. So there you see is 17. But that helps in terms of alignment of the tiles on the ball. So you have to pay attention to that. But what it does is it starts off as black resin, and after I sanded everything, so this one I started with black primer, which is this one. I used Vallejo gloss black primer, and then following that I used Vallejo metal color gold. So for these 2 steps, what I ended up doing is they had posted a photo on the RPF as to how they paint these tiles because they do commission these, and I saw them attach them to a cup. So that's what I did here, and you can see the outcome here in the outlines where I had these adhered to the cup using blue tack. So you can see this is the excess stuff that I had when I was done with everything. But you know, this actually works out pretty well. I did have to spray the cup with some primer because the cup is so slippery that the blue tack was having difficulty sticking to it. But that was simple enough. So I adhered these pieces to a cup. So you can see this one was all of the triangular pieces, and then this one were all of the rectangular and the middle little individual pieces there. And it worked fairly well. I had 2 pieces that detached during the painting process, so I used the airbrush for these because of the airflow, and it kind of fell off the cup. Wasn't a big deal. But I'll get to this side here a little bit later. But that's what I ended up using to spray the primer coat, the gold color. All right, and then after that, because of the challenge I had with those cups, what I ended up doing was I just really took another one of these cups and cut it in 4ths, and I ended up with these guys. And this honestly worked out much better for me because it's a flat surface instead of it being vertical. It's a little bit more flexible, so I could really kind of press in because, you know, even though these are curved, and it's better on these pieces here, they don't sit necessarily flat. So on the cup here, you can see there's still kind of a bit of a gap there. And so you really kind of have to get a big chunk of, you know, blue tack to get it under there. And it just worked okay. But I think if I were to do this again, I would go this route. And this was nice because it helped me organize tiles and all of the parts into a very easily sprayable format. So that would be what I would recommend going forward. But once I had these parts painted, I actually mixed up. I have some Archive X paint. So I ended up using Engine Black, let's see, Brown Bess, Weathered Black, and Coach Green. There's no specific rules around this. I know that Ethan and Wonderknight, those folks who built the kit, they had posted a little bit of their process, and for the initial wash, they used colors in this region or tones. So I tried to mimic that. I ended up using, I think, 5 parts of the engine to 5 parts of the brown, 5 parts to the black, and then 3 parts to the green. And from there, I ended up, while the tiles were on this, sprayed a coat over the tiles, and it was not a perfect coat. If you, what I mean by that is, you know, I left purposely certain areas unpainted. I didn't go through any sort of consistent pattern. I'll have more photos on my RPF build log so you can kind of see where I was going, but I wanted to introduce some variation because I knew the next step after everything was painted was to get into some of, I would say, the weathering or the removal and the customization of the paints. So you can see here, this is, I just used a microfiber towel. I dipped an end in some water like this, and you can see all of the marks, but essentially I just wrapped it around a finger like this, dipped it in some water, and just started rubbing. And just by that pressure, it would remove layers and layers of that brownish black mixed paint, and to slowly reveal the gold underneath. And so when I got that to a liking, and when I did it, I would take it off of these plastic pieces, and I would lay them out like you see here onto the map that they provide in the kit, so I could kind of see how the tones, where the intensities of the colors needed to be in relation to the other pieces in the kit. So that kind of, this really helped me map it all out. So once I went through the first pass of, the rubbing and whatnot, I then went to a wash. So the wash was consistent. I used these guys here. These are, I don't know, maybe 99 cents at the local hobby store, Deco Art. And I just ended up using this ebony black and a burnt umber. And I made a couple washes here, and I just mixed it with some deionized water. So I used a black wash, brown wash, as well as this rust wash from Vallejo. And literally just sprayed everything down with some water and just gave it several different washes of all of those colors, different segments. I didn't think there was really any particular process, but you do your washes. And then once those dried, I took the brown and the black wash, combined them together, dipped it in a paintbrush, and I was tapping the paintbrush over this. And let me see if we could see this. I wanted to introduce these raindrops. You could kind of see the outline there, to just give it a little bit more of an organic feel that isn't so processed, if you will. You could see here, that was from the wash. And you can see a couple more raindrops there. So it's really kind of subtle, but I think it gives variation to the finish to make it at least start to resemble some of the detail here. Honestly, I did try, I picked out one of these tiles and I did try to replicate that. And I just don't have the skill or the time or the patience to try to replicate all of those things. So I wanted to at least give it something other than just, one particular coat or one particular layer of a wash. So I had washes of the black, the brown, and the rust. So you can see the rust color come out more, like in this case here. And I didn't put the rust on everything. I think that would have been a little bit too much. So I kind of just picked and chose what I felt was the best. And then, yeah, so after that was done, I went back over with the microfiber towel and the water dipped finger, and just kind of cleaned up the finish and just kind of smoothed everything out. So I did that with all of them. And then once I was happy with that, then I basically sprayed 2 coats of this Liquitex high gloss varnish. This actually ended up working out quite well. It leaves a nice, even though it says high gloss, to me, I think this is more of a satin finish, which is what I would like. I didn't really want it to be super glossy. I, of course, didn't, most Star Wars props are more matte. But I think for this particular ball, since it was to resemble a metal type ball, there should be some sort of sheen. So I was actually quite happy with that Liquitex gloss. So yeah, that pretty much sums it up here. Just trying to think what else. So basically I'm going to be using some CA glue to attach these to the ball here. And what you can see here is this is just a spray paint cap, which works wonderfully to keep it straight. And then I'll just follow the map instructions and get these lined up. You can see the design of these tiles are fantastic. They follow the curvature of this type of ball perfectly, right? So I think that'll work out well. And really it's just making sure that I could get these aligned, you know, properly on each of these sections without, you know, just carefully and making sure it all fits. So anyway, that'll be the final step here. But in short, this is kind of the process that I used to paint these tiles. And I think with this particular kit, with this type of prop, it can really leave things up to interpretation. So these are the props that I really like because, you know, whether you're good at things or not, at least for me, I get to experiment and I get to try out different techniques. And this is part of what makes building these types of props enjoyable for me, is just going through the process of learning and trying new things. So yeah, I think that is everything here. So just a quick recap, that works great using the cups like that, but personally this worked better for me. So kind of pick your poison, either way is fine. I did contemplate painting all the tiles on the sprues, but I quickly went away from that because I just couldn't imagine handling so many individual pieces, and with the way I work, I might be knocking them over and messing up the paint as I go along. So I felt having everything laid out was just the easier way for me to manage all of this. So anyway, hope this helps, and thanks for following along. Take care. Bye-bye.